Hey everyone, and welcome back to What If Kid Goku Turned Super Saiyan? This is part 3. I'll be leaving a link to parts 1 and 2 in the description and in the cards. For those of you who are new here, which will be most of you at this point, psst, don't forget to subscribe. I need the numbers. I take a scenario that could have happened in Dragon Ball, but didn't, and talk about what it would be like if it did. To recap the last few parts, Goku got so mad at Krillin's death at the hands of Tambourine, he just became a Super Saiyan. He killed Tambourine and later King Piccolo with no effort whatsoever, thankfully reviving Krillin before defeating the latter. This means that Kami is also dead, meaning the Dragon Balls are useless. 3 years of training with Mr. Popo later, and Goku goes on to win the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, and Krillin goes on to win the 24th 3 years later, having spent his own 3 years training with Popo. Meanwhile, Goku has been training his mind to better control the Super Saiyan form. Of course, he has no idea what that is yet, or what he is for that matter, but he thinks that he can refine it, or maybe go beyond it somehow. Everything changes when Raditz arrives. Raditz not only sees the Super Saiyan form for himself, but informs Vegeta via the Scouters. He introduces his brother to gravity training with the help of Bulma and Dr. Briefs. Goku and Raditz and Krillin from time to time train for the remainder of the year, maxing out at 20 times gravity in this time. This should give Goku an edge on his main story power level, but he's still not a match for Vegeta until he turns Super Saiyan. Vegeta and Nappa agree not to harm anyone on Earth in exchange for Goku's help defeating Frieza. And here is where we begin today's part of the story. If you're under the impression that Vegeta would be friendly with the people of Earth, you've got another thing coming. This Vegeta is still the prideful, arrogant Saiyan prince who landed on Earth in the original story. Although I'd equate him more to the Vegeta of planet Namek, who sided with the Earthlings because he had no other choice, this Vegeta is still very full of himself, and looks down on weaker beings. Nappa, on the other hand, has really begun to respect Kakarot's strength. Although he's low class, and Nappa is too set in his ways to overcome his old opinions, he can respect Kakarot for overcoming his limits, and especially for becoming the Super Saiyan. The Saiyans spend months training together at intense gravity, with Vegeta not pulling his punches against Kakarot and Raditz. Unfortunately for him though, with a healthy supply of Senzu beans, for now at least, the Saiyan brothers keep getting back up, and over a short space of time, begin to keep up. Vegeta's power is increasing dramatically due to the gravity, but he's giving Raditz and Goku free Zenkai boosts. They quickly close the power gap and ramp up the gravity more. Now 3 of the Saiyans are on relatively even footing, with Nappa lagging quite far behind. Once Kakarot starts keeping up with him, even potentially starting to pull ahead, Vegeta starts to recognise him as a rival, rather than a weakling. Let's do power levels. Goku trained a lot on the way to planet Namek, but this time things are a little bit more complicated. Seeing as they've been training at these advanced levels for a lot more than 6 days, and with each other, I'm comfortable replacing the 10 times boost Goku received with a sizable 40 times boost instead. I'll use 18,000 as Goku's base power and 15,000 for Raditz for this calculation. This is to account for the Zenkai boost that Vegeta would have given them during their training. Vegeta basically left Nappa alone, but he got some good training in with Raditz, and Kakarot taught him a few things too. He's starting to actually like the pair. This puts the Saiyans' power levels as follows. Goku and Vegeta end their training at a whopping 720,000, give or take. Just about equal. Raditz is at 600,000, and Nappa is trailing pretty far behind with 170,000. Conflicting guides put his base power at either 4,000 or 4,500, so I split the difference. And now for the big question that I know you're all asking. Did anyone else achieve Super Saiyan in this time? Well, no. Not yet. Vegeta still has work to do. We know he achieved it at some point within a 3-year time skip, but not within his year spent on Earth before Goku returned. That, and Goku has been focusing on his base form, as Super Saiyan would make the gravity training way too easy. I'd say Vegeta is the closest right now, in any case. You'll all have to let me know in the comments when you think that the Saiyans should be achieving the form. Anyway, we'll say 4 months pass before this fresh hell breaks loose. You see, for the last 4 months, Frieza has been irritated. The last time he had a report from the Saiyans, he was told that they were attacking a planet, but the next time he decided to eavesdrop, he heard something interesting. The long-haired one, Radish or something, was on a faraway planet. He had his pod tracked to a faraway world, pretty far out of their territory, so Frieza wouldn't bother doing anything about it. But the next thing he heard angered him. A Super Saiyan. And Vegeta, that worm, was keeping secrets from him? The Great Frieza? He was seething, but he decided to watch from a distance. Frieza had his own plans. He had Vegeta and Nappa followed on their one-year journey to Earth. Frieza sent an ordinary person within the Frieza Force, perhaps an engineer, someone whose power couldn't be obviously detected by scouters and too weak for Goku or Raditz to notice them. This person watched the power levels on his scouter and reported back to Frieza immediately. He managed to read out the power level displayed on the screen as the scouter exploded, and the comms went dark. One of the Saiyans has reached a power level of 500,000. Impossible. That was almost equal to him, at least in his first form. Frieza knew these monkeys would only get stronger, and decided to head to Earth himself to snuff them all out, once and for all. They sensed him a week before he landed, but only Nappa was scared. Frieza in his first form would be no challenge for even one of the Saiyans. They were overconfident, but rightfully so. Vegeta didn't know at this point that Frieza could transform, so what harm could he possibly do? Just then, 3 pods landed. They hadn't been noticed over Frieza's power, but now they were on Earth, they couldn't hide. Zarbon, Dodoria, and Qui had landed. Frieza assumed that, despite one Saiyan being at unseen levels, Zarbon and Dodoria could take out the other 3 easily. This assumption was wrong, of course. Within minutes of landing, the 2 elites were confronted by none other than Nappa, with Raditz watching from the sidelines. Zarbon asked if the Saiyan was too confident or just insane. Nappa smirked and raised his power level. The Nux, how the tables have turned. He raises a hand, and Dodoria is gone in a flash of purple light. Should have kept his eye on the birdie. Nappa sees this and sighs. He wanted to have fun, but it seems that he left these guys behind months ago. That's 100 times gravity for you. Zarbon laughs. Nappa is bemused and asks why he's laughing, and Zarbon just tells him that it's all pointless. Frieza can transform, just like him. Nappa raises his hand, and Zarbon is gone. Now, Qui is terrified, so he tries to run for it, but yeah, Vegeta comes out of nowhere and just destroys him. He was watching the whole time, and he's impressed by his lackey's power, but it's nothing compared to him, of course. A few days later, 5 pods crash down. This is the challenge that Nappa thinks he's been waiting for. The 4 Saiyans rush over to confront the Ginyu Force. Now, in his mind, Nappa is still less powerful than the Ginyu Force, but it quickly dawns on him that they're far weaker than him now. Ginyu himself is only at a power level of 120,000. Nappa is disappointed, but Goku encourages him. It can still be a fun fight, and he gets to fight people who used to be stronger than him. Even if he has to hold back a little, he can make it more fun. Nappa smiles. He never thought of it that way. Suddenly a beam flies past him, almost faster than he can see, and Guldo explodes in a blue light. Nappa turns around, his mouth hanging open. "That's all the help you'll be getting from me," Vegeta says, before turning away. Nappa smirks, and turns back towards the Force, who are speechless at the power on display. Nappa powers up and bundles into Recoome. Jace and Berta charge at Vegeta but are intercepted by a smiling Goku. Ginyu himself is stopped by a smirking Raditz. Recoome is heavily outmatched, even while Nappa is holding back, while Goku's fight with Jace and Berta goes in a similar way to the original. Ginyu tries his hardest against Raditz, but is beaten back easily. Raditz is just toying with the captain. First Recoome falls, then Berta. Jace starts to panic and flies at Raditz, aiming to take him down so that he and Ginyu can work together. But Goku hits him in the back of the neck and he goes down. Raditz continues to toy with Ginyu, but now that Ginyu has seen the guy in orange's power, he's not going to be beaten. Ginyu injures himself, taking everyone by surprise. Then he starts chuckling. He raises his arms and shouts, "Change now." The technique connects, and Ginyu is in Goku's body now. I'd say, thanks to not being used to the body, Ginyu Goku's power is probably at around 400,000. This was still far more than Ginyu was used to in his previous form. He charges at Nappa, knocking him down and pummeling him. Raditz interferes and is more than strong enough to help keep Ginyu away from Nappa, but something is wrong. He's holding back. Why? The old Raditz would never have held back like this, even against Kakarot. And then it hit him. The Earth, the people, his brother. He liked them. A lot. And he didn't want to lose any of them. A few minutes of back and forth pass before a gloved hand rests on Raditz's shoulder and shoves him out of the way. "You two are getting soft," says Vegeta. "I, however, have no problem destroying Kakarot." The fight begins, but it's short-lived. Just like in the original story, Vegeta completely dominates Ginyu and is ready to kill him when Ginyu shouts again, "Change now!" But Goku had been standing on the sidelines waiting for his chance. He jumps in front of Ginyu and gets his body back. Ginyu, infuriated, turns around to try again. One more time. He'll get Vegeta this time. But Raditz had been waiting for this. He threw a frog, a common earth frog no less, in the way of Ginyu's technique. With Ginyu in the frog's body, Raditz turns to his brother and sticks his thumb up. Goku is surprised by this gesture, but returns the thumb with a big grin on his face. Maybe there's some hope for the brothers' relationship after all. Meanwhile, Vegeta was notably shaken. He had almost lost his body. To that? Inexcusable. With one quick movement, he stomps the Ginyu frog to death. "Now it's your turn, Frieza." And that's where we'll leave it for today. So what do you guys think of the story so far? How powerful do we think Goku's Zenkai is going to be? Well, maybe not as big as the one he got on Namek, but then again, it doesn't really need to be. He's almost at 1 million right now as it is. Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments. I do like to have fun with these stories, so it makes me really happy to see the interest this story is getting, and the support that you guys are giving me. It really does help me to no end. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this story, or if you're at least finding it interesting. Until next time.